April 13th, 2008, Madison Square Garden, Game 3 of a heated playoff series between two bitter rivals. The Rangers, they were up 2-0 in this series, but Game 3, the score was tight, emotions were boiling, and then Sean Avery did something no one had ever seen before. He parked himself in front of Marty Brodeur on the power play and started waving his stick in his face like a lunatic. And here's the wild part. Avery had 4 power play points all year. He wasn't out there to score. He was an enforcer, a pest. So why was he on the ice? Well, it's because Sean Avery wasn't just any role player. He was one of the greatest agitators in NHL history. And in that moment, he broke the greatest goaltender of all time. And the league rewrote the rulebook the very next day. But to understand how that all went down and how we got here, we need to go back and look at Sean Avery. Sean Avery wasn't supposed to make the NHL. He was undrafted, he was undersized, and he was volatile. He forced his way into the league through pure chaos. The Detroit Red Wings were the team to give him a shot, and then after 2 seasons with them, he went to the Kings, and then shortly later, he went to the Rangers. And before that 2008 playoff run, Avery had played in 379 NHL games. And in those games, he'd racked up 65 goals, 102 assists, and 167 points. Pretty respectable numbers for a role player, but that's not why teams kept giving him a spot. He also had 1,067 penalty minutes. That's more than 17 full games worth of penalties. He led the NHL in penalty minutes in 2004 with 261, then again in 2006 with 257, and was never really outside the top 10 in any full season that he played in. Avery wasn't out there to score goals. He was out there to piss people off, and he was one of the best. He chirped relentlessly, he poked at players after the whistle, and crossed lines other pests wouldn't dare to approach. He was Brad Marchand before Brad Marchand, just with way less skill. But somehow, that made him even more dangerous. He wasn't trying to beat you on the scoreboard, he was going to drag you into the mud, wear you down, and make you do something stupid. And by 2008, he had turned that chaos into a full-time job with the New York Rangers, and it was working. During his time with the New York Rangers, he really cemented himself as one of the league's best agitators, but few players hated him more than Martin Brodeur. The Rangers and Devils already had a heated rivalry long before Avery ever stepped on the ice. With the rinks being just 13 miles apart, every meeting felt personal. So when Avery showed up in New York and started going after the face of the Devils franchise, it just poured gasoline on a fire that was already burning. Just 2 weeks after Avery was traded to the Rangers, he got his first shot at the Devils, and he wasted no time by stirring the pot. Late in the second period, he burst up the ice, cut between defenders, and got a shot off on Brodeur. Marty failed to control the rebound, and as Avery crashed the net, he tried to kick the puck back to his stick. That momentum carried him directly into Brodeur's crease, and what followed was a mess of shoves, flailing limbs, and a pretty theatrical dive from Brodeur. Avery was slapped with a penalty for goalie interference, while Brodeur got nothing but a new reason to hate someone. And after a long summer off during the offseason, most players came back refreshed, but Avery and Brodeur picked up right where they left off. During warm-ups of a November matchup, Avery started chirping Brodeur before the puck even dropped. That's when a mini-fight nearly broke out before the game even started. Avery kept the pressure on once the game began, buzzing around the net and drawing every chance he got. He managed to distract Brodeur just long enough for the Rangers to capitalize. The two even came together helmet to helmet at one point and had some choice words for each other, but when asked what was said, Avery claimed Brodeur's accent was too thick to understand, even though Brodeur's English was more than okay. And after all this controversy, the hockey gods, they just couldn't resist. Rangers vs. Devils in the first round of the playoffs. Avery vs. Brodeur on the biggest stage in the National Hockey League. Avery scored his first ever goal against Brodeur in Game 1, then followed it up with a game-winning goal in Game 2. And as the series went on, Brodeur tried to return the fire through the media, saying Avery was recycling the same tired trash talk and needed some new material. That only made things worse. See, Avery had constantly been poking fun at Brodeur's infamous 2003 affair, and Marty's visible frustration meant Avery was hitting a nerve. So when Brodeur told reporters that Avery should find something else, he took that challenge literally. Game 3, the infamous moment that would go down in NHL history. With a 5-on-3 power play in the second period, Avery turned his back to the play and stared down Martin Brodeur. He waved his hands in Marty's face, mirrored his movements, and played goalie on goalie. Pure psychological warfare. It lasted a full 30 seconds. Brodeur shoved him and slashed him, but Avery didn't budge. And while the Rangers didn't score exactly when Avery was doing that, they did 30 seconds later, with Avery getting the goal. And not even 24 hours went by without the NHL stepping in. They issued a new interpretation of the unsportsmanlike conduct rule, making it illegal for any player to deliberately face away from the play and distract the goaltender like that. It became known as the Sean Avery rule. In a league that had existed for nearly a century, Sean Avery had found a loophole no one had ever exploited, and it forced the NHL to close it immediately. Game 5, the Rangers were one win away from knocking out the Devils. Midway through the second period, up 4-1, Avery was still running his mouth, and this time, Brodeur actually chirped back. He later said after the game that he didn't really have anything to lose. And he was right. The Rangers closed it out and took this series, but the real exclamation point came in the handshake line. Brodeur, still heated over Avery, straight up refused to shake his hand. And in hockey, that is a huge deal. And although Brodeur thought he got the last laugh because of that, Avery came out and commented on it.
Everyone talks about how classy, unclassy I am, and Fatso there just forgot to shake my hand, I guess, so.
It was the last jab in a series full of them. But sadly, Avery's season came to an end shortly after that game. In the Rangers' next series, he suffered a lacerated spleen and spent time in the ICU. But even that didn't humble him for long. He recovered, and by the start of the next season, he had signed a new contract with the Dallas Stars. 4 years, $15.5 million. And he didn't really last long before another one of his antics. Avery found himself suspended again, this time not for something on the ice, but for something he said off the ice. Before a game against Calgary, Avery told reporters,
I just wanted to comment on how it's become like a common thing in the NHL for guys to fall in love with my sloppy seconds. I don't know what that's about, but enjoy the game tonight.
It was a dig at Flames defenseman Dion Phaneuf, who was dating Avery's ex-girlfriend Alicia Cuthbert. The league was not really amused of what he said. Avery was suspended and sent to anger management, and the next day, the Stars cut ties with him. Just 23 games into his stint. Then, after a few months, he joined back with the Rangers off of waivers, and once again, he found himself across the ice from his good friend Martin Brodeur. This time, he was still the same old pest, screening Brodeur, celebrating in his face, but there was something different. When Devils forward David Clarkson challenged him to a fight, Avery didn't bite. After the game, he said simply, "That's not really my thing anymore." It wasn't much, but it hinted at a new side of Sean Avery. One that could still poke the bear, but maybe didn't have to feel the need to go nuclear every time. But after that season, he was shortly out of the league. In 2012, he played just 15 games and then called it quits. After retiring, Sean Avery stayed in the spotlight in many ways. He landed roles in major films like Oppenheimer, Tenet, and Patriots Day, and even appeared on Dancing with the Stars in 2014. And when asked about Avery's dancing, Brodeur chuckled and he said, what more could he do to embarrass himself? But Avery wasn't done. He fired right back at him, reminding him of his infamous affair, and didn't hesitate to call him Fatso again, proving that even off the ice, the feud was far from over. Even years after his departure from the NHL, Sean Avery remains a memorable figure in the league. Not so much for his on-ice play, but for his Instagram stories. Whether he's yelling at someone in a bike lane,
Hey, f***head! Right over here, f***head! Nice parking job in the bike lane. See this little kid? You lazy f***. Top of the morning to ya. I'm pretty good. You parked in the bike lane, you f***ing asshole. What do you think we should do? Yo, where do you want us to go, you dumb f***? You stupid f***.
or making some insightful hockey analysis.
Clayton Keller kid, he fucking sucks. Fancy schmancy, fucking stick handle. He's just standing there. Move, big shot. Right here, so easy to play against. Close your gap. It's just like, it's like playing against a little kid. And this little shitbag Keller. Kid still fucking sucks. I wouldn't take him. Yeah, this Keller kid's a joke. He's got ear guards on his helmet. Look at that.
Avery is still part of the game and its culture. His legacy isn't built on goals or assists, but on the trail of enemies, headlines, and rule changes that he left behind. From an undrafted long shot to hockey's ultimate agitator, Sean Avery made sure that you would never forget his name.